Hello, 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 everybody. How you doing? Coach Hadassah here, metaphysician, personal development coach, emotional development coach, wellness entrepreneur, and founding member of Extreme FX Global Academy, where Bitcoin and Forex collides, because that is where the money resides. Forex pays. Ask me how. All right, so we're going to get into this topic today of grace. Grace. When grace runs out. Do we ever really consider that? Right? We hear a lot about grace. You know, God's grace, Yah's grace, Allah's grace. I mean, whatever you choose to call your creator, right? The source and substance from which we all come from, right? Um, we all know about grace. We know something about grace. We hear about grace. Um, the extension of grace and mercy, right? We hear a lot about grace and mercy. But do we ever consider that grace runs out? Like, what is grace? Like, what is grace? So we can I'm a firm believer for going to the dictionary or um encyclopedia. uh I love to reference the etymology of words, right? um what they're rooted in and all of that good stuff. It gives a really really good, a great meaning. um But when I look at it, and I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull up the definition. I'm going to pull up the etymology, because we really need to understand what that word means first. Like everything, every word, but everything has a meaning. Words have meaning, and it puts me in a mind frame of what happened in the in the scriptures with our forefather and foremother. And there was a twisting of the words that was spoken about a commandment, really. And it was only one commandment, one law that was given back then, right? There was no such thing as sin. It just wasn't. First of all, sin means ignorant. That's what sin really means, ignorant. Whether we are ignorant by just not knowing because we were never taught, or ignorant, root word ignore, meaning we know, but then we ignore what we know. So that's what happens when we don't know or we ignore what we know. We usually find ourselves in deep trouble, right? We find ourselves in some deep mess or situations that it's like, oh my gosh, if I had known. How many times do we say that, right? If I had known, or if I knew then what I know now, I would not be in, or I would not have, or right? All because we feel like if we had known better. And sometimes that is the case. And here's the thing: grace and mercy and forgiveness and things like that is extended when we didn't know, right? And it's like for real, like I didn't know. Now, we could kind of pull that one over on, because you already know it's some people out here that pull the I didn't know, knowing full well they knew, but they knew better, but they just chose to not do better. But I didn't know. That's what they'll do. I mean, the face and everything, the whole act goes on. I didn't know, but they knew. And so it's like, okay, well, but here's the thing. They intuitively know that if they say that they didn't know, then the grace or the mercy or the forgiveness would be extended because they didn't know. Because that's what our Heavenly Father does. That's what the Creator does. But the thing is, that's one that you cannot pull over on spirit. Okay, let's say that. On spirit. There is a such thing as spirit law. And spirit law knows if you do know or if you really don't know. Right? But then there's also something in law in Latin. I forgot how to say it in Latin, but it's ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? What does that mean? It means that, well, just because you didn't know, that doesn't mean that you're excused from what this law says that is the penalty or whatever the case for it, right? It would really have to depend on the person or that authority or the enforcer of the law to just say, okay, well, you didn't know, I'm gonna give you a warning. But they don't necessarily have to do that. They could go ahead and enforce it, right? So saying all that to say, with grace, it's not anything different than what we can look at as far as how it applies in our everyday life when it comes to, like I just explained about, the authority in government or municipalities or any of those things. How about when it comes to our bills? Right? That's one of the perfect examples when it comes to grace and when grace runs out, right? Let's see. Let's take rent or mortgage. Okay? There's a due date. And then at that due date, there's a grace. After the due date, there's a grace period. It may be 5 days, it may be 10 days, it may be 15 days, right? We have 30 days roughly in a month. A 15-day grace period is like, I'm giving you half of the month. Like, first of all, you had a full month. You had 30 days. Now I'm giving you an extra 15 days, which is half of a month. So that's 45 days. Now, the reason why it would be 45 days is because 45 days is half of 90, and 90 is a season. And we know, because it's fall, right? Seasons have changed. Okay, going into a new season. So 90 days, you're given a grace period of 35 days. I mean, you have 30 days, you're given a grace period of 15 days. That's 45 days, which is half of a season. Okay. So the grace period, it's like you had half of a season of time because you knew it was time to pay up. I'm going to give you this. Now you have to pay up. Now, what happens when you don't pay up? What happens when that grace period, that extension of another half a month, another month, right? A half of another month and half of a season, you don't pay up? Well, when it comes to mortgages, then there's a late penalty, right? Now you got a late fee. So now you got to pay that plus some. And then if you don't do that, right? Now we're going into that 90 days or something. And 90 days is 3 months. If you go that far without paying up, then there are legal proceedings that start, to come in place. You have to strike on your credit. I mean, all of those type of things. Okay. Why am I explaining all of that in that way? Because that is something for us to understand how grace works in the spirit and how it does run out. We tend to abuse grace. Oh, God is so ever loving and he's so graceful and merciful and all of this and all of that. And I say abuse because we'll continue to do the same old things over and over and over and over and over again, and think that payment will not be due, thinking that we can continue to extend. And like, it's God. He ain't gonna never make due on his promises or whatever, right? And that's not so. That's not so. Grace does run out. Yah's grace, God's grace, Allah's grace, whatever you call your creator's grace, does run out. And we cannot continue to abuse that. But many people do. And how do we do that? And what does that look like? Right? It looks like procrastination in our lives, period, as a habit, in our behavior. Because how we do one thing is how we do everything. How we do one thing is how we will do everything. So, in getting our behavior in check, right? Because if you continue to abuse God's grace, continue to abuse Yah's grace by thinking, believing, or ignoring the fact that payment is due. How is payment due? How about in the scriptures? What does it say? Paul said it. Owe no man nothing but love. Owe no man nothing but love. Well, what does love entail, though? Let's go to the fruits of the Spirit. Let's go to some behaviors. Because the funny thing is that the Hebrew language, which was the first language spoken before there was a dividing of the languages, it's an action language. It's a language of verbs. If we were paying attention in school, verbs are action words. The Hebrew language is a language of verbs, a language of action. And love is a verb, it's an action word, right? And you have to see love in action. What does that look like? It looks like trust. It looks like, let's go to Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. 19 tell you what the works of the flesh are and all that, but we're not going to get to that. We'll talk about what the fruits of the Spirit is, the fruits of it. Now, when you think about a fruit tree, it goes through a process of the stages and development and everything before it gets to the fruit, right? It's a tree. It started with the seed. It goes deep first before it sprouts up. The roots have to go deep. And then it sprouts up. And then it grows and it grows, right? You have the roots, and then you have the trunk, okay? Then it grows out. Now you have the branches, and then after the branches, you have the leaves, and then after the leaves, you have fruit that grows, and then you can eat of it. And fruit is sweet. It's sweet. I love fruit. I used to climb the trees in Mississippi and eat fruit off the trees. Right? The apricot trees, the plum trees, the pomegranate trees, the Georgia, the peach trees, all those trees. We used to just be outside all day, climbing trees and eating fruit. That's what we did. I was rarely hungry there. You just go outside and play and climb trees and eat fruit. But that's probably why I like fruit so much now. I could just live off of fruit. But anyway, I digress. But fruit is sweet and it's healthy. So when we think about the fruit of the Spirit, it starts with attributes. Attributes are like seeds. The attributes or the character, the characteristics. And if we are our Father's children for real, then we know our Father. Like, do you know your parents? I know my parents. Not just know their names, right? Like, you know them intimately. You know what makes them joyful. You know what gets under their ruffles, their feathers. All of those things, you know them. And so if we're made in the image and like we in the image and likeness of our parents, that's a type and a shadow of us being in the image and likeness of our Creator, the source from which we all come from. And so do we know the source and substance from where we came from? Do we know the character, the characteristics, the attributes of Yahweh? You're going to hear me say that name, right? So what are those attributes? It is wisdom, intelligence, knowledge, love, beauty, justice, foundation, power, and strength. That is 9 divine attributes. 9. The number 9 completes the number system. Hear that. 9 is the number that completes the number system. And everything in the universe operates in that way. 9 is a completion number. You have 9 planets and 2 luminaries, right? The sun and the moon are luminaries, not planets. But then you have 9 planets. That's a solar system, right? We have 9 bodily systems, right? We have 9 systems or 9 vital organs. That's for our bodies, the vital organs. It's 9 of them. Everything in the universe lines up, right? In numbers, you have 9 numbers before it goes back to 0, and then it starts all over again, right? So the reason why is because everything in the universe is patterned, paternal, father. That's what works together, right? So everything in the universe operates on that system or based on the attributes of Yahweh. It's 9 divine attributes, 9 planets, 9 vital organs, and that number, 9 fruits of the Spirit. And you could just run that down, right? It's scientific. So with those 9 characteristics, if that be in you and working in you and operating in you, then we should see the fruit of that, which is Galatians chapter 5:22, right? It gives what those 9 fruits of the Spirit are: love, joy, peace. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up because I like to say them in order. Because the way the way that they develop in that same order, right? And so 9 fruits of the Spirit: love, because we say, what? Oh, no man, nothing but love. But there are things that come with love, and that's what you'll see operating. You know, you say, try the spirits. Well, what does it look like? How do you discern or whatever? Well, you have to see these things operating in people consistently all the time, right? So love, joy, peace. It says long suffering. What does long suffering mean? Long suffering doesn't mean patience. Long suffering means endurance. Like, I can patiently stand in line and wait to, get to the checkout and sit there and look at my phone and read magazine or whatever on the magazine stands. And, that's not suffering. That's not even standing there long, right? That's not suffering. Long suffering is endurance. Why? Long suffering would be something like giving birth, right? Pain, you're in pain. You know that it's coming, the baby coming, but oh boy, you have to endure. And you just have to endure. So that is long suffering. Women know about that. And for men that don't know anything about the pain that goes through the birthing process, maybe you would be able to relate to it by maybe like exercise or something like that, or sports, where you have to, like in practice or something, where you have to keep on going and push through and press through and pass the pain and all of that in order to get the results that you're looking for. That's endurance. That's long suffering, right? Gentleness. What's gentleness? That's kindness. Kindness. Goodness. What's goodness? That's righteousness, right? Faith. Meekness or humility. Okay? Temperance. What is temperance? Temperance is self-control. Those are 9 fruits of the Spirit. They work in that order. They develop in that order. The last one is temperance or self-control. The reason why that's the last one is because usually that's the last one to develop in character. And this is how you know when you see all of that together, right? Like, oh, no man, nothing but love. But these 9 fruits of the Spirit operate from love all the way through to self-control, right? Again, love, peace, joy, endurance, kindness, righteousness, faith, humility, and self-control. All of that comes together. It's not separate. You don't choose one without choosing the other. All of it works together. So when we talk about grace, right? And extending grace, there's a time period. There's a time period. It's like you have to pay up. What are you paying? You're paying love that comes with everything that I just mentioned that's connected to love. Those 9 fruits of the Spirit. That must be paid. That is what's owed. to each other. That's what's owed. And then when that's not paid up, guess what? It's time to shut the lights off. It's time to repo. It's time to evict. Can't stay here. Gotta go. That's how that works. That's how that works. And as quiet as it's kept, and it also lets me know who is who, right? Who is what, and all of that. Because when we talk about God's grace or Yahweh's grace or Allah, Buddha, or whatever, it's grace, there's a time period. There's a time period. He's even like, you got to look. You got a little bit more time. Just okay. Now you out of here. And what do I mean by now you're out of here? You're out of grace, right? You're out of time. You're out of that grace. And now here comes the whatever it is that you really didn't want to do, face, and all of that. Think about it, whatever that is for you, right? I know I've been there. Many of us have, right? When you doing things that we ought not do, and we just moseying along, and we receiving warnings from the Spirit right within us, like nobody outside of us has to tell us at all whatsoever. But His grace is extended to the fact that, or to the point to where He does start sending people or whatever to you, show you signs and all of that. A word from somebody, a song, a TV show commercial, billboard advertising, just signs just everywhere. You just not paying attention. Like, oh, I got it, or whatever. You don't pay attention. You ignore, right? Ignorant. Sin. That's what sin is. To ignore the promptings and the warnings and the admonishment and all of those things. And it's like, okay, time's up. Next thing you know, boom, shut down. You're wondering why you don't have that favor anymore. Because that's what grace is too, right? That's what grace is. Listen, here we go. Grace. The Etymology Dictionary. Literally, favor. Right? Favor. As a verb, not as we're going to look at the verb, but as a noun, God's unmerited favor, love, or help. From Old French, grace, pardon, divine grace, mercy, favor, thanks, elegance, virtue. From the Latin, favor, esteem, regard, pleasing quality, goodwill, gratitude. Right? Sense of virtue is early 14th century, that of beauty of form or movement, pleasing quality. Remember, I said one of Yahweh's 9 divine attributes is beauty. It works and pairs together with love and justice. But it's just that, justice. Many people talk about justice, right? I want justice to be served. Do you? Right? Like, do you really? You want justice to be served when you are owed something, but you don't want justice to be served when you are the one that owes. You don't think about that, but you need to. Right? Again, Paul said it. owe no man nothing but love, but it comes with love, joy, peace, right? Kindness, humility, self-control, righteousness, all of that. It comes together with it. They operate together because when not, let's see, okay, then as a verb, to thank, right? To thank, or basically to appreciate. What does it mean to appreciate? It's so funny. Um, this is something that I was thinking about before. Okay, so I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna go into that. So grace as a verb, to thank or to give thanks, to praise, right? To show favor, to lend or add grace to something. Let's see what else. Okay, that's the end of that. Okay, so it says to thank or really to appreciate. Appreciate. What does appreciate mean? What does that look like when you appreciate? We'll say that, someone does something for you or something like that, and we say, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, for that. Okay. It's nice in words, right? The gesture of the words, I appreciate you. But how do you actually do that? Think of a home, think of a house, okay? You have one, if you bought one ever, you lived in one or whatever, but especially if you've ever bought one, because then you are responsible for everything with that house as opposed to renting, where you could just call the landlord or whatever, right? Can't call a landlord when you own it. or you're on title as the owner. So when it comes to those repairs, it's 100% on you. You can't call the landlord. You're that person. And something needs to be fixed. Okay. And you have to fix it. You have to pay to get it fixed. Your furnace goes out. You need a new furnace. The central air goes out or whatever. Boom, they have to come over, do something to it, or you might need a new system. Okay, that's about three to $5,000. The furnace, somewhere around there. You need a new hot water tank, right? Things that if you move or sell the house, you don't take with you, right? Like you can decorate it and everything, but you can take all of those decorations out. But the things that stay after you move, that is how you appreciate the house. The things that stay after you move out of the house. The hot water tank stays. The central air system stays. The paint on the wall stays. The floorboards and all of that, the hardware, all of that stays. That is how you appreciate the house, right? So when the people come over, the appraiser, and they appraise the home and everything, they're not appraising, your pretty little vase and the decorations they're appraising it based on, what the windows and the doors and the hardwood floors or the carpet and that and the again, all of the everything that stays after you leave in comparison to the value of the homes that are in the area, the comps, right? So homes that are like your home, the comps in the area, and then they base that off of the average, but also what you put into or appreciated in the home. That is how you appreciate. That is how you give it value. So that when you leave it, you left it better than it was when you moved in or were living in it. It's not just words. It's a verb. It's action. Right? So, owe no one anything but love. It's an action. Right? How do you bring joy? Or how do you keep yourself and others in joy? Joy is a spirit. It's a fruit of the spirit. How do you bring, right? And I say those words because these are things, it's fruits of the spirit. It is in you. It's in you. And when you show up, everybody knows about auras and presence and everything, right? If it's in you, it's exuding from you. And everyone around you, when you enter a room, people can feel it. You don't have to open your mouth. They can feel it coming from you. Just like if somebody look, a smell, right? If somebody walked in the room, Lord have mercy, y'all pray for my sons. Ooh, I got the one. The other ones, they've gone through that threshold. Look, any boy mom. I'm not deviating from off topic of what I'm talking about, but I'm just saying, I'm giving an example of joy and love and peace and all of those fruits of the spirit being in you. And when you walk into a room, everything within 6 feet of you feels your presence and the fruit of the spirit oozing out of you. So that's how you bring it, because it's in you, right? They can feel it. They can spiritually smell it. And so I went into that with my son because this is just an example. Boys from about 12 to 16, I don't know what it is, but they don't like baths. They don't like water. Water is like kryptonite to about a 13 to 16-year-old boy, until he likes some little girl when he about 16 or whatever, and he stink and it's smelling, and then she say something and it just break his whole little heart. And then from that point on, he take baths and showers and use all of your body works and smell goods and whatever, and you like, where's my stuff? And they but you've been telling them the whole time to take a bath or a shower or whatever, but they're not listening to you. And then you can even say, now see, I'm trying to tell you to get in the tub and everything, because you're coming in here and you're smelling and this is that and the other, and it's not gonna be until some little girl tell you that you stink that you're gonna get in the tub. But I'm trying to save you from that. And they just don't listen. And then when it happened, next thing you know, about 16 and that happens, they in the shower. So I just had to put that out there for any boy mom, okay, that you are not alone. It's just, that's what happens at that age. I've gone through 4 of them so far. I got one more left, and he's 13. And it's like, just please get in the shower. You walked in and it, like, it's the whole room. It smells like, yeah. That's what the word, that's what it comes from, when it's like, you're smelling yourself. Man, you smelling yourself and everybody else smell you too. So I had to just put that out there. But that's what it's like, right? That's what it's like when you do not come with the fruit of the spirit and that sweet smell of the fruit of the spirit, and you come in, you might be looking all whatever, all handsome and suited and booted or whatever, or dolled up and your hair laid and all of that kind of stuff, but your spirit stinks. And the spiritual noses can smell it. Then that means that you're not bringing it. It must be, it's a development. It really is. It's a development, just as, again, that's the reason why they call it the fruit of the Spirit, because you have to think about a tree. It has to be that good seed that is deeply rooted, and it's rooted in those, again, those characteristics: wisdom, intelligence, knowledge, beauty, love, justice, foundation, power, strength, and all of them operating. And they're tested. Life tests to see, is wisdom operating in you? Is intelligence truly operating in you? Is knowledge operating in you? Is love, justice, and beauty operating in you? Beauty from the heart. A beautiful person, the most beautiful person you will ever see in your lifetime, is one with a beautiful spirit. Is that operating in you? Is the foundation where you just cannot be shaken? Foundation, right? Power and strength. Is that operating in you when the test of life comes? How about when the adversary comes? We love to blame stuff on the adversary, right? The devil made me do it. No, that's where that foundation, power, and strength come from. The scripture said, resist the devil, resist adversity, resist the evil, and it will flee from you. Resist it. Devil made me do it. You didn't have no power. You was tested, your power, your strength, your foundation, rocky, shaken, sand, wasn't strong. Devil ain't make you do it. You was tested, but you did it. You did it, right? You have to withstand those things. Okay. And then what does that look like? Let's talk about a play of words. If you can write something down, write this down. Give you a little time if you can. Grab some paper, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, pencil, crayon, marker, something. Just grab it. And I want you to do this word. And then I got 15 minutes left. You know what? I'm look at the comments, because all this time I didn't have the comments up. Okay, so here we go. All right. I want you to write live, Live. And then I want you to write, like, make a space, like write live, the word live, Live. And then there's a space under, and then on the next line, or 2 lines down from that word live, I want you to write lived with a D, Lived. So then next to the word live, like, just go over, I want you to write evil, Evil. And then next to the word lived, I want you to write devil, Devil. And then go down. Then I want you to write backslide. So then look at the word live and evil. It's just flipped. Live is evil spelled backwards. That's backsliding. Lived, which is past tense, flipped is devil. Backslide. So when we talk about backsliding, we are living beings. If you are backsliding, living, when you live, you grow, you develop, you progress, you move forward. That is forward movement. But if you're stagnant or standing still, you're automatically like going backwards. That's death. That's evil. That's lived, like in past tense, and devil. Always move forward. It's okay to reflect, to review, to kind of look back, to, see some things. Okay, what was my for the sake of progression, to see how you have progressed. It's okay to do that. But to harp on the past, to wish for the past, to think about Lot's wife, right? When that place had just gotten so far removed from all things spirit, right? All things spiritual, all things life. And it was like, okay, time to destroy this place, right? And the angels were sent, like, okay, look, we were sent to destroy this place, but we cannot until you and your family get out of here. But y'all have to go like now, right? The grace is that we were sent to tell y'all to get up out of here. But if y'all don't hurry up and get up out of here, y'all going down too. That's grace. That's grace. And then that family, Lot, his wife, and the children, okay, we out of here. Why was Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt? Or basically she was disintegrated when things blew up, right? Because she looked back with a sense of longing, like she was going to miss this, like she was going to miss that. Why was you going to miss that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was pure evil. Everybody was living backwards, right? They were no longer living. It was a dead environment. They seemed to be still living, but they were dead. It was a dead environment. Why are you looking back? So she looked back like, oh, boom, she gone. Because if that's in your heart to still want to be somewhere where it's dead, you dead. And you can be in that same place, dead with everybody else. So that's what backsliding is. That's what evil is. That's what the devil is. Living backwards, being stagnant, not moving, not progressing. And we don't have much time left. And that's the reason why I had to come on here and talk about that today, because that was just dropped in my spirit earlier this week. And I'm like, what does happen when grace runs out? Like, we hear about that grace. And the spirit just said, what happens when grace runs out? I'm like, what does happen when grace runs out? Tell me. Download, like, and it was just as simple as, shoot, think of your bill. I mean, I don't know how many times. Look, I don't know about you, but I know what's happened to me. You know, I get asked for an extension on my bill, my phone bill. Okay. And they give it to me. You know, they give me 14 days. I love it. And usually it's like, okay, extension, boom, pay it. I'm not asking for another extension. But after that, they turning it off. And Yahweh said, I operate that same way. and nobody is going to abuse my grace. And so I want you to talk about that. So it's not me, because me, I be sitting here trading right now. I mean, like, seriously, I'm listen. Like right now, I jumped out of a trade. As a matter of fact, it was going in the opposite direction. I was gonna hold it, but I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. So to do this message, I just closed out $15. I don't like. I mean, I didn't lose the trade, but I mean, it was just $15. But that's how I was thinking about it too. Like, you know what? It's just $15. Let me go ahead. I can make that back as soon as I go get back. As soon as I end the live, I get this $15 back plus whatever it is that I want up out of here, and then be done over the weekend and go have fun with my granddaughter. It's her birthday party is tomorrow. We're going to Sky Zone, and I'm gonna jump up and down with everybody else on the little trampoline things, and then I'm gonna come home and soak in some Epsom salt, because I know that I'm going to be in a little bit of pain from jumping like I'm 12. But anyway, hey, that's life, right? And your grandchildren keep you active. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm about to go through the comments really quick because I didn't see them. All right. So who do we have here? Hey, Miss Jackie, Jazz, Shonda. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in such a long time. How is everything, Shonda? And I'm seeing you with your wellness and everything, sis. If you don't know, this is what I'm doing. Because with wellness, right? Health and wealth goes hand in hand. And I'm trading to money up, right? Be my own bank in order to fund my wellness center so that we can offer health, right? Like wellness, financial wellness, everything across the board. So that is the goal, right? That's the goal. So, you have a space at all times for workshops, like everything, because I love what you are doing. Yes. Merlinda, Tanisha, let's see. Yeah, so that's everybody that commented. I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody that joined in. So yes, thank you so much. I hope that this added value to your spirit, right? Your spirit, your spiritual walk. And that, listen, for the most part, okay, do know that God's grace don't last forever, but it's always extended to those who truly appreciate it. And that appreciation is shown in our actions. In our actions, first of all, towards our Creator, then our actions toward ourselves. We have to extend grace to ourselves. We have to love ourselves. We have to be at peace with ourselves and experience that joy and the kindness and the righteousness and all of those things, right? That self-discipline, which is temperance, okay? All of these things, we have to extend that to ourselves first, right? And then you can extend it to others. However, when it's not being served to you, do know that you have the authority to shut it down. You do not have to continue to extend grace to anyone who is not extending it to you. Apparently, it is a dead situation or whatever it is. You figure out the time limit on it. If it already seems like the time has run out, then go ahead and serve the notice of a bye. Sometimes you don't even have to do that. I don't know. However you do it, it's on you. But of a no, of a buy, as in BYE, as a whatever it is, but you pull away your energy, because people will drain everything that you have from you, and you will wonder why you're starting to feel, drained and fatigued, and just all of those things. You probably end up having health issues that you didn't even have to have. And that's no matter in relationships and jobs. I mean, all of these things. Listen, when I tell you, don't. That's all I have to say, really. Don't do it. We have energy sources in our bodies. They're called, is it really called ATMs? I'm going to look for that video. But it's almost like ATMs. I forget what it stands for, but it's these energy measures in our bodies. And when they're taxed because of the energy, the energy that we're extending out, then we're low on energy reserves when we extend those out that way. And then we start feeling fatigued and all of that. And if you didn't know, just from a metaphysical standpoint, money is energy. Energy is money. Money is energy manifested. That's why you look at people who are truly wealthy, right? We ain't talking about just rich. I'm rich. I'm moving towards wealthy, right? Like, I want to be wealthy. I could be rich in anything. I am rich in books. Okay. These things are everywhere, right? I'm rich in materials. I'm rich. Wealth is what I'm working on, right? Where it's passed down from generation to generation. It doesn't run out. I don't have to check on anything to see, well, let me see how much it got left. And that's more so of energy reserves. Let me see how much energy I have to put into this. Like, no, I will always have energy if I'm not letting it be drained by time wasters, time stealers, those who do not appreciate. They don't even know what that is. They're ignorant of all of those things, and they will drain you dry. Cut the cord, cut the energy cord, serve the notice, give them a bye, BYE. They don't deserve it. The time has run out. So yeah, I really got to go now, because this is my husband. He called me on his lunch break. So I will talk to you all later. You all have a great, great day. All right. Peace.